Good. Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna do a little setting there. More coming in, so let me let them in. Wow. I may have somebody coming on the call tonight. Share another testimonial on an animal, so. Okay. There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to our WoW Wednesday testimonial call. Myself and Dr. Sheila are so glad that you're here because we know that your time is valuable, but we also know that if you're interested in the AO scanner and you want to know what's going on with it and how it's helping people, this is the call you want to be on. So we are the design of this call is to come in, share your testimonials. If you're new here, then we would really appreciate it if you would follow up with the person that invited you here to this call, because this call is pretty much open to anybody that has an AO scanner or anybody that's interested in an AO scanner and what it can do. And we also share testimonials on other things like the 660 band, the interilluminator. We talk about the supplements. The supplements are amazing. But anything that we have with our company, you are welcome to, share a testimonial on if you have it. Dr. Sheila, do you want to share anything before we get the call going?
Nope, I just want to join you in thanking everyone for coming, and please encourage your friends as well, because this call, things are always coming up that we don't always think about. I mean, I've been here for 13 months, and
Yep.
still every week I'm blown away and I hear things that I didn't think about. So this is a really important call.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so very much. All right, everybody. And I do see my guest speaker on here if she would like to unmute and share her sweet dog. Oh my gosh, Kota is amazing. And don't mean to put you on the spot, but I see that you're here and I've kind of built you up and let everybody know that you may be on this evening. But Diana Engel is on the call tonight, and she is one of our QLAs. She was in the big AO group, and she's got a German Shepherd that has really been sick. And I guess somebody had mentioned reach out to Tammy Ward because she can help you, because I'm historically known for helping quite a few animals. So I've been kind of working alongside with her and giving her some playlists, but she's doing all the work. So I just want to welcome you to the call, and I'll just let you unmute and kind of tell her story.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. And first of all, thank you for helping me with Kota, because I can totally tell the difference. So it's been amazing. I did post in the group if somebody could help me with maybe some frequency list, because I didn't know what to do with her. Like literally, I took her to the vet and they basically said I need to put her down. And I'm like, that's not an option. So what happened was it was July 17th. All of a sudden she started going potty in the house, and she never does that. So I was up with her all night long, and it was nonstop potty. And then there's blood in her urine, and she started throwing up to the point of there was just bile. She was throwing up bile. So I called the following morning and tried to get into her vet, and they couldn't take her. So I called I was literally in tears. I called like 5 different vets, and finally a little small vet, like a little pet clinic, said, I'll squeeze her in, just bring her in. So I brought her in. They shaved her belly. They did an ultrasound. They did the x-rays on her. And they said that basically she had a big mass pressing against her bladder, and that there was really nothing they could do. And I was just like, no. And I'd been up for over 24 hours. So I was hysterical. This is my girl. I've had her. She's almost 11. And about 2 years ago, she actually stopped walking, and I got her back to walking, because you name it, I've got every natural thing there is. So, and then, and so about a year ago, my friend told me about the scanner, which I have no clue. I just know I have it, and I think it's pretty good. But when Tammy told me exactly what to do, I mean, she, I had so many notes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. But I got it all set up, and I've been running the scans nonstop for her. And I'm telling you, so the first, like Tammy did the first playlist for me, and let's see, it was for like infection, liver, just different things like that. So I started running that on her, and it seemed like she was feeling a little bit better. And then I was talking to Tammy, and I'm like, okay, I've got to get this peeing under control, because she's never done this. I mean, every time she moved, it was just like, oh my gosh. So she's like, okay, let me do a list for that. So she did a list for that. And then I'm like, okay, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't slept in 10 days. I'm like, I need sleep. She's like, let me do a list for that. So like literally that list for the sleeping, the first night I played it with, I mean, literally within 2 minutes, she was asleep. John's like, she was just awake. And I'm like, she's asleep. So she she woke me up one time during the night on that one. So I was like, okay, so that was good. I was starting to get my sleep. Well, then she did the one for the incontinence. So that, I was like, oh my gosh, she slept all night. She didn't go potty in her bed. She didn't potty on the floor. She got up, I took her out. So I was like, oh gosh, this is good. So, I mean, each list that, I mean, this poor dog, she's got so many things wrong with her. It's just like, so she's got this growth on her rear end area too. And Tammy's like, well, let me do a list for that. I'm like, okay. So she did a list for that. And I've got like, what, 6 playlists now, I think, that you've given me, but I'm like alternating them. And I can tell a difference. I mean, she's getting stronger. I took her to another vet today for a second opinion, because I don't know. Something didn't that me. So they said today, he's like, I honestly, he goes, I don't think that's a mass on her bladder. He says, I think her bladder was so inflamed with infection. He said, I feel like it was filled with gases. And he's like, I'm not going to do another x-ray yet, because I wanted her to go through the whole like all the antibiotics and everything. And it was so funny, because the last time I was in there, I told him like the natural stuff I was doing, and that was before the AO scan. So he's like, okay. So I'm like, do you want to know what I'm doing now? And he's like, oh gosh, what are you doing now? And I'm like, well, it's this little frequency machine. And he's like, oh gosh. But he was very receptive to it, because he's like, I've been like studying about like light therapy and frequencies. And I'm like, you need one of these. So I have to go back next Tuesday to see him. But I told Tammy that I'm going to change her name to Miracle. And I think I'll just call you Mrs. Miracle. So anyway, she's been a godsend, and she's helped her so much. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. So
I'm just honored to be able to even help at all. And I will tell you that, it's not just about making a list, but it's really tapping into whoever you're dealing with. And, yeah, we've got some very generic lists out there, but what I like to do is actually muscle test the animal or the person for the proper list. And I think that's why it works so well. So I just want to add that to you, and I just want to thank you for allowing me to work on her and to do some things with her, because this is kind of where some of my passion is too, is to help these animals, because they don't have a voice, and a lot of vets will just, they give up and they don't want to do anything for them. That's what they did with Piggy Britches. They're like, you need to put her down. I'm like, no, she's not ready, so it is just simply the frequencies work, you guys. And if you will just be mindful of who you're working on and what you're attacking. Is like, I had a conversation with my mom yesterday. We're still working on that spot on her back, and I said, Mom, can you share some of what you're putting on that playlist? And of course, she's making sure there's 15 frequencies on every playlist. And I said, let's just focus on 1 or 2 things, and let's do that. So that's kind of what I did with Diana's dog too, is that, let's really focus on what's really the problem and the issue at hand, and make sure that we're really targeting that. Because yeah, making a playlist and broadcasting that, you might be able to get some things, but be very mindful about what you're putting together. Diane, thank you so much for being here. You're welcome to stay and listen to everybody else, and you're welcome to ever use this call and invite others to it. And, maybe that'll help build your business too. So that's kind of what we're doing with this call, is to help people know what's going on and how the scanner is helping people. So thank you again for coming on and sharing that story about Kota. Anybody else like to share anything? You just unmute and share away.
I'll go.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen. I haven't been on in a couple weeks. I had a birthday and then an HOA meeting and haven't been on, but I've listened to replays. So I have several different ones. I'll just share real quick. So I had a client who was getting ready to have knee surgery, and she's done all the alternative things and has put it off for at least 10, 12 years. And it's gotten to the point where she can't deal with it anymore. So she's going in for knee surgery. So she's been very apprehensive about that. It's kind of going against her grain of doing the whole surgery thing. But so she's been really stressed and can't sleep. And I said, well, let's do an inner voice scan on you. And I had done it on her previously. And she's like, well, I didn't really know what to do with it. And, it was okay. And I'm like, well, if you promise me you'll do this, let's work together. We're going to do 35 days from now until the time I see her again.
Oh, good.
So that's pre-surgery, surgery, and then post-op. So I saw her last Thursday. So tomorrow will be a week. I created a sleep playlist, and I do it every night. I go to bed and I push that go, and I get up the next morning, shut it off. And Saturday morning, I forgot to shut it off till like 11 o'clock. And she's like, I have slept the best I have slept in years. So that's crazy. That's exciting. And then I've been doing at least one scan a day on her knee just to get her going. And then the other day she messaged me, and it's fun to hear her little voice message to me, what she's doing. She goes, I got a lot of work to do before I, go under surgery next Thursday. And I gave her a little playlist during the day to just energy to boost and knee and all that kind of stuff to get her going. And she's like getting so much accomplished. So, and then funny enough, in the group the other day, I had a client call to cancel. She's getting a pedicure with me. She's like, I have poison ivy, so I don't know if I'll be able to come. I'm like, well, where is it? And she's like, what's more on my upper inside calf? I'm like, okay, that should be fine. We can work around that. I said, but she's probably a 78-year-old lady. I said, I have something I could try on you if you're willing. Can you send me a picture of it? And then I can run some homeopathy for you. And she's like, okay, well, whatever, you do your thing. That's fine. We'll try it. So ran that. And then it was an hour afterward. My significant other was in North Carolina, and he sends me a picture of his hand. He's got poison ivy on his hand. I'm like, what the heck? So I put it in spaces and objects and did a collage of the pictures, put their names, poison ivy, and I did just the roost tax, I can't say the name. And then did that for a bit. And then I also created another deeper, more in it, and ran that. Mike came home and he goes, I don't think it was poison ivy. It didn't. I'm like, it was.
It just went away.
Right. And then my client that came in, when she came in, it was definitely less red. And I was going to take a picture of it afterwards, and I forgot to. And then while she was sitting there in the pedicure station, I ran it. And then I also had some pellets, and I created pellets and had her take the pellets. So those are my two fun little stories that that have been going on. So
thank you for sharing. Those are incredible. I love that, especially with people that, oh, I don't think that was what. Yeah, it was.
Yes. I thought that too the first time I got poison ivy, and it was literally gone after a 20-minute broadcast and dried up the next morning. I'm like, there is no way, but it came back again, and I know that's what it was. And that's all it took.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think that's really awesome that you thought to do a spaces and objects and take pictures of both of them and put it together so you could broadcast to both of them at the same time. Yes. That's really using your scanner wisely.
Yep. I do that a lot with several different clients. If they're all kind of having the same thing and I need to broadcast, I'll just kind of, just do like what Tamara did, and it works. I mean,
wow.
it's thinking outside the box and realizing you have such amazing technology in your hands and you're able to do so much, but sometimes we forget about those things, so great work. Great work.
Well, I love this call because my brain just doesn't think outside the box a lot.
I'll add one more quick thing.
Sure.
Family emotional drama this last weekend that, stirs up all kinds of, past traumas in your life when you don't even realize it. And so yesterday was like the peak of it. So it was really stressful. So today I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just exhausted and just physically tired. And I started getting this ache in my back. And I was like, what is going on? It was like, oh, is it my liver? Is it my kidney? And I didn't have an epiphany. So I ran a bunch of different things. And I had didn't have an epiphany until my client, I was getting ready to take into the massage room. She's like, how's your scanner going? And I said, well, it's good. And then I was like, oh my gosh, liver, anger, emotions. I'm like, hello, I'm exhausted today and trauma, and I'm angry at what went down. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I did another inner voice, and we'll listen to that again tonight before I go to bed too. So it was like, duh, I have this tool to help with one more thing. So
That's
the
amazing.
emotions, they're tied in.
Yep. Thank you again for sharing. All right.
I'll echo the emotion part in a
Good.
different way. I did want to say, if you ever feel like flipping the bird at somebody, that is part of the handholds for anger, is the middle finger. So you can hold your bird and soothe the anger. Okay, but I was going to say that we're on vacation, different background, way prettier than my house. But my husband's blood pressure went really high today, really high. It's something we're always watching. And like the normal things weren't taking care of it. And so while we went out and like shopped on the island and stuff, he stayed home and took care of himself. And he got the scanner going and ran several things. And I said, I want you to also run trace minerals and ultimate emotions. And he has, again, the third time, ultimate emotions brought the blood pressure down. Okay, so it's not just, the hypertension frequencies. Emotions play a big part of it. Trying to run a business while you're on an island, states and states away.
What happened to my internet?
She's still frozen.
Everybody's frozen. Are we back?
I think we're back. Are we back?
I can hear you, but
okay. The power just flickered off. Sorry, y'all.
It's weird. Okay.
I'm back, but
there you
the
go.
power flickered off. The Wi-Fi flickered with the power, so I apologize. But I just wanted to say the emotions are a big part.
Is she there? Is she frozen, or where'd she go?
I think she's frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she is. Now I see her. I'm like, where'd she go? I can't see her. She's frozen. Well, that's interesting. The ultimate emotions. I may run that on Scott later, just by itself. Don't tell him though. Because I think he actually worked himself into a very, because he posted that post on Facebook about doing the emotion code, and then he was busy the next day just trying to book everybody, and then he started getting nervous, and I'm like, you don't ever get nervous like this. So I think I'll do that too. So
yeah.
Thank you, Chelsea, for sharing. Anybody else like to share? Yeah, go for it, Shelly. Hi.
Hey guys, I have to tell y'all, probably know I broke my arm. It was an accident, but anyway, the first day I couldn't move it, so I started running my scanner right away. Look at this. I mean, they were swelled. It never swelled up, nothing. I'm going to, Friday. It's happened on Friday and I'm going Friday to have it checked. So, and it doesn't hurt. It never hurt as long as I ran my scanner on it.
Nice.
I mean, I made a whole playlist for broken bones, emotion, because yeah, I was upset because it was an accident, wasn't my fault. But I was just excited that I could. It's just been since Friday, and my hand's moving as well as it is. So
Nice.
yeah, and it doesn't hurt. It never did hurt as long as I was running that scanner.
Yeah, I know.
Even though I got all the hydrocodone stashed away, it's like
Yeah.
I can't imagine taking it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I wanted to share that. And then I have a horse that I'd show you the pictures, but it's pretty graphic. She cut her down near her foot, almost cut it off. And she's just 2 years old. So the girl was telling me about it, and she'd had it at the vet for a week, and they weren't really doing anything. So I offered to scan it. I scanned that horse for 10 days. They finally put a cast on it last week, and because it was a place where the fetlock would move. And anyway, they only had it on there for a week, and it's already growing hair on it now.
Nice.
And I've been running a scanner every day on it.
That's the trick, is really doing things daily on them. It's like I was telling Diana that you have to actually even scan and optimize the areas that are
Yes.
the problem, over and over, and also run the frequencies, and also, and it's like, and if you do all of it, you get great results.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. And this girl, she works in a hospital, so she was pretty excited about it.
I bet. Well, thank you for sharing.
I just wanted to tell you, broken bones heal quickly.
Yeah, they can. They sure can.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I can't do my hair, so y'all have to look at the curly hair.
I think you look beautiful. You look just fine. You look like you're
This is so weird not to be able to blow dry your hair.
Right. Well, we're so glad you're here.
It's exciting. It gets more exciting the more I learn.
Yeah, same here. I mean, and I still learn stuff all the time just by, hearing other people talk about what they do. So that's why this call is so good. So
yeah, there's so many avenues you can look at with this machine. I mean, there's not one specific. A frequency is a frequency, and if and we all have it at our fingertips. Exactly. You don't have to try to figure it out,
right?
I think we have more at our fingertips than we even realize, which is why I love this call, because everybody's thinking differently.
Yeah. You're so right, Miss Sheila.
Did I tell you about the girl that came on a couple weeks and shared about the mirroring of the scanners front and back if you had two accounts? She also talked about the inner illuminator and how she's been running it down her meridians, and it's actually been helping that. So we have so many different tools that we can use: the 660, the inner illuminator, the scanner, the supplements. We have so many things. This company really does care about us. So all right.
Hello.
Go right ahead.
Good evening, everybody. And this call is such a blessing. I look forward to it. Every week I learn something. And I was thinking about erase. I've used to erase headaches and pain. And then I thought about Alan, and which is how I found out about Tammy's call. Yeah. Alan Dashner from Houston, Texas. Well, Alan calls me all the time, and he had all of these complaints. And he would ask me to do a playlist. And that's how I learned about WoW. So the last few weeks in Memphis, I live in Cordova, which is part of Memphis, Tennessee. We've had a lot of storms, lots of storms. And our power has gone out. Alan would call me and tell me, your power is out. I'm like, huh? I'm like, Alan, I live here. But I have everybody running on a separate computer in my den, so it's not on my main computer. He said, your power's out. And I'm like, how do you know? He said, because I'm in pain. I'm like, what? I said, but Alan, he said, will you please go check your playlist? Because I have 3 playlists running on here. And I went, and true enough, it was out. It had gone out, and the playlist had gone off. So, and that has happened 3 different times in the last 10 to 14 days. Alan has told me when my power went out and my Wi-Fi was no longer working.
Yep. You know, when I would work on my mom early on with that rash that she had so bad, and we would have some glitches in the scanner and it wouldn't go, she would call me and tell me something going on with the scanner, and I'd go check, and sure enough, it had glitched out or something, and I wasn't able to run something on it. And I'm like, oh, I'll get it all fixed, Mom, and I'll start running it on you again. But now she has her login. I'm like, you just log in and check it.
Well, we'll talk a few minutes when I start it back up. And in a few minutes, he said, all right, I'm good now. Have a good night.
Gosh.
Dr. Daryl's mom has the same situation, what she knows when he's not running her scans.
Yep. My mom does too. You know, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, there are people that really know when this is happening to them. And I mean, I've worked with several that, you know, I'll tell them, you know, I'll run your scan at such and such time and just want you to know. And then they'll message me and that, did you do something extra? Because I'm feeling a little different today. It's like, well, no, I did, you know, I did this, that, or the other, but not really, you know, but yeah, it's just incredible. So,
Yeah, Sheila's right. My mother is the exact same way. Lately, she doesn't, this hasn't happened in a while because she's just so much better that I don't need to run it on her at the same way. But she would always tell me to, you know, zap her. That's just our lingo, zap me. And then an hour or so later, if I didn't get around to it, she says, I know that you're not zapping me, or I know that you forgot, or whatever. And I remember one time in particular, I argued with her and I said, no, I did. And she said, you didn't. And I went back around there and I looked, and sure enough, I did it. She was absolutely. And then when I cut it back on, she sent me a message about 5 minutes later, and I didn't tell her it's back on. She said, thanks.
yeah.
Yep. That's the way Alan does.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. It is so crazy.
Hey, before I would like to ask a very quick question.
Go ahead.
I think everyone should ask this question every week. Tammy, are you on this week's call?
I don't think so. But I don't know.
Because
think so.
we keep having these situations where we're just having regular old conversation with you, and then we get off, and then we watch the YouTube, and the same woman that was just talking to us is on the screen.
Yeah, I know. Well, you just, I don't know. You're just getting blessed. Second shot with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I see. All right, so today is I don't think so. So probably
I don't think so, because I think it's Lauren and Kai, and they're going to talk about the scanning today. So I don't know, but you never know.
Right, we'll see.
Okay.
Thanks.
Shelly, did you make up your own Broken Bone playlist, or was it the one that I shared in the group? Or I didn't unmute yourself.
I made mine up, Tammy.
Okay. Do you want to share that to the group, or do you want to share it to me and I can distribute it out?
Yeah, I'll be glad to.
Or just say what's on it. I'm sure. I think Tina is asking what you.
Okay. Let me step over here and get it.
Okay. And then I'll expand while Shelly's going to get that. Kat was asking if you can clarify doing all the scans daily for an issue. So what I mean by that, like for instance, I've got a friend that I noticed that she had fallen and hurting her knee or something, and she's actually interested in the scanner, and she's actually saving her money so that she can get it. But I saw that she'd made a post on that, so I reached out to her and I said, hey, would you like me to do some scans on you and run some Cephies on you? And she said, oh, anything to get me better, because I'm laid up with my leg being all swollen, and it's not broken or anything, but my knee is all crunchy and it's all swollen and it's it's bruised and it hurts really bad. And I went, okay. So this morning, what I did for her is I actually went into the comprehensive and the custom, not the custom scan, but the complete scan, and I deselected everything and I only did legs. So I scanned and optimized her legs, and then I did her body systems. I did just the musculoskeletal system, and then I also broadcasted frequencies for her. So when you're working with a particular issue, be it whatever it is, just remember that you can go into the comprehensive and even the vitals if it's more of a blood work issue or a virus or something like that. And you can deselect things in your scanner and just scan and optimize those things. Like, for instance, if someone has a tooth issue or something like that, I would do the teeth, and I would also do the vertebrae, because the vertebrae, probably the meridians, because they're all connected. Scan and optimize those, and then make a playlist that is geared for the teeth. So does that make sense? I hope that helps. Let me know, Kat. Go ahead, Shelly. Oh, you
Okay,
shared.
I sent it to you in the team thing too,
Okay.
so they can look at it. But
Oh.
because of what I've done all these years, I kind of put everything together because I had my elbow too. So I
Right.
put immune support, pain control, bones fractured or broken. I put the complete frequency set in there,
Mm-hmm.
the elbow pain, the fascia, injury, joint problems, muscle repair, and nerve inflammation. Because all of that coincides with the injury, all of those surrounding tissues, in my mind.
Yep, you're right. And that's exactly how you want to do that. So I'll try to get this saved, and then I'll put it in the chat for everybody.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
took a picture of it for you all.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll put it in the chat. I'm working on that. So if anybody else would like to comment while I'm getting this up, go for it.
I'll share.
Okay.
So we've been having like a little bit of a theme on our last couple of calls about child behavior and all those sorts of things like autism and whatnot. My first child deals with a little bit of like anxiety and some aggressive behavior and those sorts of things. And we have talked about just doing like inner voice scan on them every day and letting them listen to it. So we started my son at night. At first I was doing just inner voice. And then I was like, well, I can do inner voice and I can scan and optimize everything else with the easy scan. So then we just started doing easy scan about a week ago since our last phone call. And so each week we're doing, or each night at bedtime, we're doing the easy scan call. And he's listening to his inner voice and everything. And I've noticed a huge change in just his behavior, like his patience and everything like that. He's a little bit more receptive to listening to me. And so that's been really helpful. Like, I've tried a handful of things with him. It used to be homeopathy that I've tried. And I mean, even the homeopathics in our scanner, I use hyoscyamus for him, and that one works often, but I'm finding that it's the inner voice that just does it for him. It's perfect. So then, the other one that I have to share is also my youngest of my three. He has a hard time sleeping, and he always has. And I created a sleep playlist for him that he's always been really receptive to. And then earlier this week we had the full moon, and he was waking up and not sleeping very well. So I was like, okay, well, it must be full moon. So then I ran the full moon parasites on him and everything, but it wasn't doing justice. So then I was like, well, he normally responds to his sleep playlist, so I'll just try that again. And as soon as I turn it on, he's out. And that happens to him every time I turn on the playlist. He's just out. And my husband's like, what did you do? And I'm like, So that's pretty cool. I love using the playlist. I love using the easy scan for my oldest. It's been so helpful for my kids, my family.
That is awesome, Cassandra. And I will put in a thing there with the autism. I will tell you that it is the inner voice is where the magic is. And it's doing that over and over with these kids. And if you'll do a program with at least a minimum of 3 months, that's what I tell all of these, my parents that I work with. If you will consistently work with your kid for 3 months with just this inner voice, I promise you'll see a shift. And you've got to be consistent. You've got to be true and you've got to be honest and you've got to do it. And the ones that do see results. So, and they'll start seeing verbals, they'll start seeing their kids connecting. They just see the magic happen. So be consistent with inner voice. I can't say inner voice enough because I feel like that is the most powerful part of our scanner, besides the Cephi, but that to me is the most powerful. So,
Yeah, thank you for that, Cassandra. That just blessed my soul.
yep, that's amazing. That's what we want to see. We want to see the lights come back in these kids' eyes, and I know that they can. So, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else like to share
Yeah.
anything?
Tammy, can I ask a question on
Sure.
that topic? So my son's nonverbal. We talked about that. And so I did that week where I think I did 4 or 5 inner voices that one week. And that would have been that would have been like Wednesday or Thursday. I stopped doing, I think Wednesday was the last one I did. And then Friday and Saturday, it was like, holy smokes, like he just, like lots and lots of behaviors. And could have been like he didn't know what to do with the healing that he was getting, being nonverbal. Is that something that you've ever seen?
When you say you're doing 4 or 5, is that just like one a day that you're doing?
One a day. Yeah, one a day. And I did
Is-
it for like in the week, because we talked on Wednesday and you said do one, make sure I do the inner voice every day. So I think I did like in that week from Wednesday to Wednesday, I think I did like 4 or 5 inner voices that I didn't do like 7. So
would you be, I mean, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because you have a scanner. So is
yes,
there any reason why you can't do it more often throughout the day? Give him a new inner voice multiple times a day.
just trying to get some sound from him. Minute I like try to get sound, it's like, oh no, we're just gonna be as quiet as a mouse.
What about just breathing? I mean, because even that will work.
I swear he holds his breath.
Okay. So
He's
he's not
that
being
kid. He's
cooperative.
that kid. He's like, if you want him to do something, he's gonna do the opposite.
Well,
It's like,
as
oh.
as long as you are doing at least one a day, I would even broadcast those tunes several times throughout the day, even though it's the same one.
Oh, okay.
Try that since he's not being real cooperative with you, and let's see if we can get him to that stage where he goes, hey, will you do that a little bit more on me? I mean, maybe he won't do that, but maybe you'll start to see some signs where he's wanting new ones.
Well,
And
you
then
know what?
go ahead.
Sorry, you know what went through my mind as you were explaining that, Shelley, is as he was getting a little taste of this, maybe he was having withdrawals.
Could be that too.
Maybe his body was like, whoa, what's going on? How come we're not getting that balancing?
And it could be that too. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, see, he was getting a taste of it, and it was probably bringing some calming to his nervous system and feeling really good. Whether or
Oh.
not you noticed anything, I'm sure there were energetic shifts, but now they're not there. And it's like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, it was like all day. Well, it was like starting Friday afternoon. So I think my last one I did was Wednesday, and then I didn't do anything Thursday because we just had a really crazy day. And then Friday at 3, he came home from the one caregiver and he lost it. It was like behavior nonstop. And then Saturday just started all over again. And I was just like losing it. And I was sending, I have a playlist and I was trying to do the playlist at least to him that I created, but it didn't seem to touch him in his behaviors.
Are you putting the zones in your playlist? Like the zones that come up in his inner voice, you could put those in a playlist for him.
Oh, no, I didn't do that. I'll write that down.
And
Okay.
you're more than welcome to reach out to me and message me if you need some help and guidance, because this is definitely my passion and my wheelhouse is to help these kids. And I feel like I'm not going to pat myself on the back because that's not the intention here. It's just
Mhm.
I feel like I've figured out some tips and tricks with these kids to help them, because I've had great results, but it's been trial and error when I first started, but now I can kind of understand what's going on, and I'd love to kind of guide you.
Oh,
So
I would love it. I mean, I call him my Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because I just never know what I'm getting every minute
yeah,
of the day.
yeah.
So,
My question is also, could he possibly be having a healthy immune response to a pathogen that is causing irritability? We've just gone through a doozy cold. I know Scott's got something going on himself. I'm wondering if it's the same thing, but like, we did not feel good, never manifested a fever. We didn't feel good. So you might look into if he's dealing with any viruses.
Yeah.
yeah, I
as
know it's
well.
going around. We all kind of had it, and he just finished one. I think it'd been like maybe 4 days prior to that. He's just getting over it.
Well, I had several days of not feeling great, and then I felt awful, and then it felt like it was going into pneumonia, and then I was able to lift it out. But the one that our family dealt with, and I'm seeing it multiple states, is a really long lasting, funny behaving viral viral thing. So just keep that in the back of your mind while you're looking and testing them, to see if he feels lethargic, or if he's the type that gets hyperactivated because he's not feeling well or something. Just keep that in your realm of possibility, and that might be what helps turn the page for him in a good way.
Usually what we see when he's not feeling good is a lot of irritability, to where then I see the behaviors.
Yeah.
So it usually tells me that something's going on with him, which is why I was like, well, that's wild, because could it have been like he was getting that healing, and then yeah, like you said, I stopped, and then he didn't, the behaviors were bad. So I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
But I was trying to put the two together because it was weird.
Yeah.
Just some of the behaviors were weird, things that we hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And so anyways, but I have a testimony of my own.
Yes,
And
go for it.
I have suffered with migraines forever. Low blood sugar most of my entire life. And menopause has kicked in and really made them a lot worse, and just bouncing my sugar levels everywhere. So I've always had a lot of migraines, and there was a time before my health journey that I was on 12 to 15 Tylenol a day, just to keep myself low enough to function with my kids. And I've gotten them under control, but a lot of times by the time I wake up, I feel like some pressure in the back of my head, and then pretty soon it just kind of engulfs to the front of my head. But since I've had the scanner, that pressure has gone. It's gone. I think I've had one bout since I've had my scanner.
Hallelujah.
I know. I can't. I was like, I actually get some sleep now. I'm not
Right.
waking up in the middle of the night going, oh, here we go again. So yeah.
That's incredible. See, that's why the $149 a month. No, I'll
Nothing.
do that all day long.
Nothing. It's nothing.
It's
I know
nothing.
I laugh when people say that, but I used to have that mindset, so I try
I
to
did.
remember. But my gosh, if they can just understand what we're getting, oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Yep. I
Mhm.
couldn't agree more. It's like I'd like to have a couple more subscriptions, to tell you the truth, but it's like better not. So, all right. Anybody else like to share anything? Thank you, Shelly, for sharing all of that. All right. Well, I got one I can share that was in I have a little, it's a group that I have that if somebody's having an emergency situation or they're sick or maybe they're traveling and they don't have their scanner. I don't know why you wouldn't take a scanner, but or maybe they're traveling and they can't hook up or something. They don't have any Wi-Fi and they really need some help. So we had one of our QLAs that she's in Alaska, and she started coming down with like a migraine and some different things going on. She just wasn't feeling good, but she needed us to run frequencies on her. So I wasn't able to today because I am really consumed helping Scott, and I'm helping another client right now, well, a couple of clients. But anyway, I went ahead and posted a migraine playlist as well as some other things that would kind of attack what was going on with her. And within just a few minutes of us starting to run, or the people that was in the group starting to run the frequencies, she's like, okay, I'm feeling a lot better now. Now I can go on the boat and go do my thing. So I'm like, thank goodness. So even in times when you're just in a pinch and you need some help, call on somebody you know's got an AO scanner and say, hey, can you run some frequencies for me? Because it will work. It does help. It helps you get out of problems. So all right, that's another one of mine. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share? We got just a couple more minutes left.
Tammy, I was going to add to that. I've got a client that has an AO scan, and sometimes, and she's dealing with titrating off of, is it Ativan or Adderall? It's the anyway, it's like super dangerous for her to reduce too much. Mm-hmm. So we've been working with her for 2 years, and she's been titrating for 2 years.
Yeah,
and there's this
Ativan.
Toxicity.
Ativan is,
I think it is. I think it is. I always get it mixed up. Anyway, sometimes she's shaking and screaming and crying. It literally will do that to her, and I'll have to run a scan for her, even though she has a scanner.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, she had it before I did. And she didn't tell me about the scanner. Anyway, cracks me up. But anyway, having even my clients having a scanner, I still can serve them as their practitioner in a lot of different ways. So yeah. If you are working with ND, if you're naturopaths or holistic health practitioners or whatever, your clients can still have scanners, and you can still absolutely have consultations with them. So I just wanted to set that up as a
thank you, Chelsea. That is so true.
Yeah,
that is so true.
I appreciate that, because a lot of practitioners will kind of, well, not a lot, I should say, I've maybe had a handful that will feel intimidated about sharing this information with their patients or their clients, thinking that they're going to be without a job. And I'm like, they still need you, but this is giving them so much power in their own home. We don't want them needing us for everything. We need to empower them.
Yep. And this is such a beautiful way to do it, and even, QLAs that even have a scanner and they don't understand it, I will jump in there and try to do things on the side to help them understand things. So yeah, get with your sponsors, get with the people that have, shared this with you, and work with them, because you've got something very valuable in your hands. So figure it out, work it.
Carol.
Hi,
Tammy.
Carol. Yes,
hey,
ma'am.
darling. I've got a testimonial.
Go for it.
We've been traveling for the past 2 weeks and helping our family move into a house, and we were painting and doing all sorts of stuff. And my husband got something in his eye, and he said the night before, he said, man, my eye really hurts. And I looked and I couldn't see anything in his eye. And so the next morning he woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I think you have pink eye. And I couldn't figure out what he'd been around that he had this irritation. And so I said, well, can I scan you? He's like, okay. So we did a scan, and then I imprinted the homeopathics that came up. He drank that. I started broadcasting the frequencies of some of the homeopathics that came up. He walked in about 5 minutes. He said, I don't know what's happening, but it feels better.
Oh, if we could win him over. Yeah.
So I was running those, and I broadcast probably till about 4 that afternoon. And he came in and he said, my eye's starting to hurt a little bit. I said, okay, we may have done too much. So I'm gonna stop it now. You know, it's done what it needed. And so it didn't cure it, it didn't fix it, it just gave him relief to let the body do what it needed to do. So there's just more and more little things that happen.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
That's right. Wow.
Oh, anybody else have anything? We got just a couple minutes left. It's exciting. Don't be shy, everybody. Come on. Somebody needs to hear it.
I'm going to tell you something. When I was doing Kota, we had company, and they come here because they're building a house down in Florida. She never sleeps. So she was sitting there on the couch, and she goes, well, what are you doing to her? And I'm like, I'm doing frequencies. She goes, well, do something on me. So I did the inner voice on her. I'm telling you, she listened to the tones. She fell asleep right then and there. And she slept for hours. I made dinner. And she was just passed out. Then she got up. She goes, I gotta go to bed. She goes, I don't know what you did to me, but and she slept all night long. So I was like, okay.
Wow. Well, you probably reset her nervous system a little bit.
Maybe, because she was out. So
that's amazing.
I don't even know what I'm doing. So hey, there you go.
Oh, I think you're doing amazing, Diana. Just push the buttons and can't do no harm.
That's what Lauren said. Keep it simple. Everybody can use this.
Yep. Everybody. And then you just reach out to those people that are more seasoned and you say, help me do this a little better. And then we just make it better. So, and you'll get there. You will get there. So, all right. Anybody else like to share?
I just wanted to mention something because I keep trying to tell people that every time you run a scan, you actually get a treatment because you're being optimized. But I was looking a little closer at my scanner the last couple of days, and you actually get 2 treatments if you run an easy scan because it's doing the vitals optimizing and then comprehensive and optimizing. Oh my gosh, that's 2 treatments within 6 minutes.
Yeah. We just can't use that word treatment. We don't want to use that word treatment. Oh, and let me say the
disclaimer.
The disclaimer before we leave off of here because I forgot about doing that. Just so that it's in the recording.
Optimizations.
Yes, our optimizations or our
2 treatment optimizations.
Yeah. Okay, so the AO scanner is not a medical. Go ahead.
I like to say that it's 2 different avenues of allowing the body to rebalance. Because optimization, it's like the body wants to get balanced. And so this is just 2 different avenues to help the body get balanced. And it happens within about 6 minutes.
Yep.
Now do our disclaimer.
Yes. Okay. So our disclaimer is AO scan technology is not a medical device. These statements that we've shared here have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you're sick, please consult with your healthcare provider. So just know that, what we're doing is an educational tool. It is something that can give you like a roadmap to your health, and then you can put the pieces together and help yourself and empower yourself. So that is what our scanner is about and everything that we use. So thank you, everybody that came on the call. This was an incredible call this evening. I get so excited when we have such a great turnout and everybody shares. It's so beautiful. Thank you again, Diana, for jumping on. You didn't know anything about this call, and we welcome you, and we welcome you every week if you'd like to come. And any of you here, if you've got people that are interested, bring them on. And just, we will make a mention to follow up with the person that brought you here. We want to spread the news about this scanner and all it does. So, Dr. Sheila, do you have any closing words?
Just thank you all so much, because we know this is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice for us to be here too, but it is so valuable because we're helping each other. But the more that we are educated and the more that we learn from each other, the better we have conversations with other people, because we want every household to have this self-empowerment. So thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us, for sharing your testimonies, and think about the different people you know using the scanner, or maybe people you're working with, and ask if they would be willing to come share something, because it really is valuable to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Don't forget to jump on the Solex call. Bye-bye.